Hi, welcome back. I thought I would make this video to be transparent and explain a little bit about why I am in Canada, how I came to be here in Canada, because I truly believe somebody out there needs to hear my story. This story needs to reach somebody. So I was pushed to make this YouTube channel, be it a higher power, whatever. I just feel I needed to make this and share my story. So over the coming months, I am going to go in detail of the things that have happened to me and the things that it caused and blah, 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 all that by coming from the UK to Canada. Now, on my previous video, and thank you for all that watch that and sharing your thoughts, opinions, and everything. It appeared I did upset a few people. And I had the usual comments like, I should have done my research, if you're not happy, go back home. And there is nobody could agree with that more than myself. So I thought today I would take this opportunity just to share a little bit about why I'm here. So I'm going to go back to the year 2001. I was a single mum in the UK, and my dad bought me a computer, which was wonderful. My children were young, so I was very scared of the internet. I'd heard a few horror stories, but I knew very little about the internet. So my dad put on this app on my computer called ICQ. And maybe the older ones watching this will remember that. So the first person that popped up on my computer screen, it actually scared me because I thought, who can see me sitting here? I had no clue that it was a totally new concept to me. But anyway, I answered this guy back, and messages went back and forth over the days, and I just thought it was wonderful. So anyway, jump to a few months later, this guy I'd been talking to was Canadian. So he came over to the UK and we had a great time. And then I came back to Canada with him for a visit, and I loved it. And it was just a new adventure. And I thought, oh, this is wonderful. I was 36 years old, so it was just, a really good idea. I did research certain things like schooling for my children, job opportunities, healthcare, the basics that anybody that's going to immigrate would actually look into. The things I spoke about in my last video are not really things that anybody would look into, I don't think, as in how often am I going to get bit by a mosquito and that. So what I mentioned in my previous video are my feelings and only mine. I didn't do it to put anybody off. I did it because as a Brit and my British friends and people, my family back home, I know they are things that people would not like here. So I do apologize if I offended anybody. So anyway, this chit chat between me and him, the visits back and forth, went on for maybe almost a year. So then it was like, yep, I'm gonna move here. And we didn't do it the right way, but back in 2001 it was a little bit easier to do what we did, as it wouldn't be happening today. So I moved over with my daughter, sold everything back home, quit my job, the whole 9 yards, and I came over here, just me and my daughter, a suitcase each. And within a month, I was married to this man. It was only when I'd given everything up and I came over here, I realized I'd been tricked. Life wasn't how he made it out to be. Again, I cannot blame him entirely because I didn't research properly. I didn't know I wouldn't be able to work for a year, my daughter wouldn't be able to go to school for a year, and that we would be living in a very rural area and I wouldn't have a vehicle. So we were trapped in this house, me and my daughter, for a year, which did so much damage to our relationship. But anyway, cut to the chase. I wasn't happy. I should have gone back. I really should. And in fact, I did. But when I went back, I was living out of a suitcase, sleeping on my mum and dad's couch with my daughter. And I thought, this is no life. I can't do this. Everything here is gone. I felt embarrassed. Everything I could think, every emotion. It's like, okay, go back to Canada. You have a home. He wanted me to come back, so I went back, but I didn't really want to. So I did come back, and this marriage was just doomed. My resentment, the untruths he told to get me here. He assured me he had no debt because I had none back in the UK, which wasn't true because he had a lot of debt. He said he had his own business, which I believe at one time he did, but when I got here I found he didn't have his own business. He was just working a regular job like everybody else. So it was a scary position I was in, and yes, I was very foolish. I should have asked a lot more questions, but I trusted him. So I just want people to be aware that this actually happens regularly. The internet is a scary place. People can be whoever they want to be behind a computer screen and a keyboard. It's just human nature to pretend to be what we're not if we're trying to get something we want. I don't know. It's just, but I was fooled and I was tricked. So here I am in Canada 23 years later. I am now happy. I really am. I'm married to a wonderful man. My daughter and my grandchildren are here. So yeah, life is better, much better. But the resentment I have is still there because I don't like living in Canada. And somebody else did comment that somebody like me, because of how I perceived things in my last video, stated that somebody like me would not be happy wherever I live. Again, that is not right, because I'm happy living here. I am honestly happy here. I'm just not truly happy. It doesn't fill my heart with happiness and all of the bells and whistles. I love Europe. I love the UK. I don't like Canada, but I'm happy here. I'm very happy in my own life. I really wanted to make that video to make people aware, because I am asked a lot of questions, and with my colleagues at work and other people I meet of different cultures in my everyday life, we all get together and it's like, hey, what do you think to this? And oh, what would you change here? And why a lot of us, we come here and we have adapted to the Canadian way of life, which it should be. If you want to move to another country for a better life, you adapt to their way. And I truly believe that. I truly, truly do. So me and my colleagues and my friends that are all immigrants here, we have adapted to the Canadian way of life. Are we happy with it? Absolutely not. But we have adapted. We haven't come over here and expected Canada to change into our ways, how things are run in our countries. We have accepted the way it is here. We just know we won't stay here, and we're not truly happy here, but it's life. I know a lot of immigrants come over to any country and they expect it to be changed into their belief system and all these things, which shouldn't really be happening, because you want to go to that country for a better way of life, then you live their way. So, and I feel the same here in Canada. So in regards to the negative things I said, there are a lot of positives here in Canada, and the country is a beautiful country. I am actually in southern Ontario. I'm about an hour outside of Toronto. So it's beautiful. The fall colours, the things I have seen here in Canada, the sunsets, the sunrise, it's rainbows. I've driven through double rainbows. I have driven where the end of the rainbow has hit the road. Things I would have never have seen in the UK. Driving here is a pleasure, because we don't have the congestion that we have in the UK and in Malta too, which is also going to be my home. So on the plus side, you can do very well here in Canada. I personally do not like the cold weather. I do not like the snow. Every year I say, this is it. This is my last winter here. I just can't do it. The snow is not for me. I'm not into winter sports. I'm 60 years old. I'm arthritic. It's like it just plays hell with my bones. So these are things that I feel people should know. The healthcare system here is very good. it isn't easy to find a family doctor, but we do have walk-in clinics where anybody can walk in 7 days a week. They're open and you can see a doctor, so that's never a problem. I personally have never had to wait long for any specialty appointment, and I have had excellent care here, and I have had a lot of surgeries here, so I have no complaints with the healthcare system. But just know you will pay a lot for your prescriptions after any procedure or any illnesses you have. So please just accept that what I said in my last video was by no means aimed at this country being an awful place to live. But for me, I wouldn't say it's awful. I'm just not accepting of Canada as being my final home. I do not want to spend my final days here. But Canada has given me a lot of pleasure. It's given me my beautiful grandchildren, my husband. So I do have a lot of good things to say about Canada, and a lot of good has happened to me since being in Canada. But in my early days here, the first 8 years of my life were hell. Absolute hell. Through my own stupidity, my own lack of research. So I really, really hope anybody that's wishing to make a life for themselves here in Canada researches everything, absolutely everything. Not just schooling, healthcare, and the job market and all that. Rents, mortgages, the lot. How many bugs are there here? If you have allergies to bites and that, which being from the UK, you probably aren't used to being bitten, but I'm sure you've traveled to Spain, Portugal, and all these places that we would normally go as a British citizen for a vacation. So they're just things that I wanted to put out there. But I know there are some people out there that need to be listening to these videos. And I'm going to ask all of you to please plonk it in the comments down below what you have to say, good or bad. I'm not opposed to answering good or bad questions or comments. Everybody has a right to know. Everybody has freedom of choice. My choice was not the right choice. And again, I will stress, yes, I did not research. Yes, I was foolish. So please, give me a thumbs up, click subscribe, and hit the bell notification. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.